This podcast contains potentially adult language, adult themes, definitely drinking, and possibly sexual context. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome to Drinking with Authors. This is the 300th episode, which we actually recorded on time, unlike the 200th episode, which,
Shaking hands.
Anyway, we drink a lot. Okay, so this is the Hosts with the Most episode. So you get to hear from all of us hostesses. No, I didn't do that right. It's fine.
No, where you left Mark out of the equation.
I wasn't leaving. I sort of used a word that turned into just sounds. Anyway, okay. So don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, if you want to leave us a review, we prefer you do it at the end of an episode after you've been drinking along with us. If you want to be on the show or know an author you'd like us to track down, email drinkingwithauthors@gmail.com and we will find them for you. And our sponsor today, as always, is Skunk Brothers Spirits, coupon code DWA10.
Woo!
Awesome stuff. So I thought we'd start with going around a little bit because you do get to know the host, but I thought refresh on our hosts with the most. So let's start with you, my darling person, J.M. Paquette.
I'm J.M. Paquette. What am I supposed to do? Like, what do I write?
She's not ready. She's not ready.
No, she's not ready. You know what? I
I'm
forgot to talk about what we're
We're
drinking.
drinking. I was waiting for that. What are you drinking?
I am drinking. This is why I forgot to do it. So this is our new DWA swag, which is bright green. And I got some of our sponsors Lightning again and lemonade.
There it is.
Lightning and lemonade. It's kind of like gin and juice, except for way more dangerous to my system, but it's amazing. So JM, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking chamomile tea in the cutest little fancy, and I have a pot of tea and a tea cozy next to me. Chamomile tea.
Is it a fancy pot?
Well, it's in a cozy, so you can't tell. It's actually a T-Rex pot. It has a T-Rex on it.
Nice.
And just in case anyone was wondering, yes, that is what she's like in real life. Danielle, what are you drinking?
Oh, I got my barefoot with me. I got my apple, and then I'm drinking it in my unicorn goblet. So I stay in character.
Yeah, so
Ready to rock.
So not only do you have to get an outfit CR, you have to get a goblet of some kind. So just so you know.
I feel like, but you know Corey's, I love it, Jen.
Oh.
It's awesome. But you know Corey's rule. People that don't know, I'm not allowed to walk around with glass. And like, it's not a joke. It's not a fun thing. Like I break stuff all the time. So like, even my cups have dents in them, these little metal ones. So I would have to have like a steel goblet, like Mr.
She's not a steel goblet. It's metal.
It's
That's
steel.
what it is.
It is.
Okay, so CR,
This way
what
I
are
can
you
hit
drinking?
the peasants.
Okay, so because it's 300th, I went super extra. Okay, and because I have metal, you can't see. But so what I did is this has 3 different liquors in it, and I think this is now going to be called Death. Okay, I don't know who knows.
Probably.
Me and Erica have been creating the 4 Horsemen liquor drinks as Corey creates the beers. So this is now Death because it's the only thing that makes sense. So I have a shot of tequila in here. I have a shot of pineapple rum. And then I have a shot of this new Western Sun vodka. I don't know if anybody's tried that yet. It's absolutely phenomenal. But it's mixed in with grape juice, like the super dark purple one. I did a splash of Sprite and then just a little bit of the like squirt, that weird grapefruit soda. Because it was way too strong. I will tell you, just that little bit of like adding the squirt in it, you don't even taste it.
Okay.
I'm not guaranteeing my mental state afterwards. However, I will say.
No, I wouldn't.
It is almost black. Like, I don't know if you can see, like it literally is like a black drink.
Okay, good. Death,
but it's
Death
serious.
decided. Okay, Val, what are you drinking?
I'm loving it.
Who me? in my office mug here that says you couldn't handle me. You couldn't handle my undivided attention. I am drinking I found this upstairs. It's some sort of margarita mix, strawberry with 13% alcohol. It's
Did you say 2%? Is that even allowed?
13%, 13.9.
Oh, okay.
13.
It's called a margarita wine cocktail strawberry mix. 100% de guava. I have no idea.
Okay.
That
That sounds
sounds
good.
like a terrible plan for you. I can't wait to see you in about
Sounds
10
so
minutes.
sweet.
Okay, Mark, what are you drinking, my friend?
As always, I've got a coffee shop of horrors. I am drinking Ichabod's Dane, the pumpkin spice, because it is autumn. So
Ooh.
as far as I'm concerned, we're in our 9th month of August here in St. Petersburg. So only 2 more to go. So
Oh
maybe
my
3.
goodness. I have a question.
That's
Is
delicious.
Coffee Shop of Horrors still around or did they end up folding?
They closed their Tavares location, the one that wasn't doing so well. They are still around. They are still sold at Prometheus Esoterica in Winter Haven, and they still have the main shop in Montverde because it's too fancy to be called Montverde. So that's
close to where I am.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
so that
they're
one's still
online,
around.
right? Coffee Shop of
but-
Horrors.
But pandemic did hurt them bad, so they're still trying to recover. So
No, that makes sense. Okay.
I've been to
So-
many parties out in Montverde.
yes.
I don't even want to know what kind of party you were in Montverde. Sounds like a dangerous
I don't
thing.
even know
Okay.
where that is.
It's outside Orlando, which just means it's probably dangerous.
it's in the hills of
so-
Like by
Claremont.
Groveland?
It's a little past Groveland. It's like nestled in Mineola and Claremont a little bit.
Kind of right near Claremont.
But
yeah.
Claremont is so cute. It can't be dangerous out there.
Mount Verdi has you drive through a private school to get to the first and only light in the whole town.
Yep.
And then it's just a bunch of neighborhoods that often are rented by parents that throw their kids in there, which is why it's the party place to go back in high school and early
Okay, I was
college.
gonna say, and Val, when were you attending these parties? Like, is
Oh,
this
he
we're
goes
talking
every
recent
weekend.
weeks?
I was
are.
designated driver, and then I discovered that I could fuck with people really bad. So Party Boy and Jackass was like a big thing at the time. So when
Right.
the music's playing and suddenly the Party Boy song comes on and everyone starts like, it looks like they're all having like a group seizure. And I'm like, what the hell just happened? And then I realized what song it was. So then I just put it on repeat. It took 8 repeats before someone figured it out. It's wondrous.
That's like John Mulaney. Have you ever seen the Pussycats sketch
What's
by
the
John
Pussycat?
Mulaney?
Yep.
Where he's like, you're by the second time you're wondering if it's either a really long song, but the third time really gets people. If you haven't
was-
seen it, you have to. It's fantastic.
That was the guy who who figured out his phone could reach the jukebox where his wife was having dinner with her friends, and he kept playing Tub Thumping over and
Yeah.
over and over again by Chumbawamba. and he kept she kept texting, how are the kids? He's like, well, they keep getting knocked down, but they get back up again, and nothing's keeping them down.
We have been host bombed.
I was
By
about
a
to say,
missing
what's going
host.
on?
Sorry, but my Zoom wasn't working and the notification.
It
didn't
wasn't
pop
just
up.
not me.
See, it was
That's
having some
okay.
issues.
Vanessa has a legitimate excuse. Val, I don't know how you ended up in here twice and then still didn't work. Vanessa,
I started drinking
welcome.
before.
welcome. 300 episodes. We were about to do introductions kind of to who we are a little bit.
Sorry.
But Val was reminiscing about her times of partying in Mount Vernon, screwing with drunk people.
But this is what happened last time. Do you remember when we did the 200th? Me and Val kept going on tangents, and everybody had to keep really.
Yeah, can't imagine that for me.
I'm just enjoying this.
Yeah, that's not weird at all.
Oh my God.
Okay,
Yeah,
You
Danielle, you
watched
look like
the show?
Danielle, you look like a goddess, by the way.
Thank you. This
You're-
is
you're
how I go to
magnificent.
the grocery store.
It's just a casual Tuesday night.
I know, like I'm like,
Exactly.
I need to wear a crown right now. That would make me feel spectacular right now.
Every
Yeah.
girl should have a crown. Everybody.
that is true, but none of us are going to pull it off the way Danielle is right now. Okay, so let's do the little intros. JM, are you ready now to do the intro of yourself?
Sure, I'm Jane Paquette. I write fantasy paranormal romances with cheesy happy endings because that's how I roll.
And
Yeah.
oh no, hey, love triangles because you have.
I
a
do
thing-
love triangles too. Yeah.
So
Vampires, demons, shifters, oh my, and happy endings. And Danielle, love your
Yeah.
story. So
Ripped your heart out
sad.
a little bit. Sorry about
With
that.
I guess we'll go to Danielle next. Danielle, tell the people who are listening a little about you.
I rip people's hearts out, according to Jen.
You
Hi,
do.
Jen. I know. Sorry, I cried a tear. Oh, I'm Danielle M. Orsino, resident Fae Queen, and I write Birth of the Fae, the Birth of the Fae series, soon to be Birth of the Succubus series, because we've only got 2 left. Wink, wink. I can't wink, or else I would. And sorry,
Just
I
double
was gonna
blink.
do this, but I can't because the net covers half my face. And I write fantasy, and soon I guess it'll be paranormal. So we're getting there. And then I'll have an oracle card set. Wink, wink again.
Yeah, no, that's coming. It's
We're gonna have to
coming.
get you on the cough thing. Since you can't wink, you just gotta go cough.
Okay. There we go. Oh,
There you
COVID.
go.
I can't do that either. So yeah,
Oh.
we're gonna do wink, wink. There you go.
Okay, nobody's being subtle. Nobody on this show is ever known for their
No.
subtlety. What about you, Val? Do your intro.
I am Valerie Willis, the interrupter and the defeater of manatees. But I'm more, I am well known, better known for writing angsty, broody men in my paranormal romances and all things in between mythology.
She likes destroying hearts with her boy romance.
Team
Team
John.
Dante.
That was a compliment coming, Val. You like,
That was a good thing. I mean, you destroy our hearts, but Teen Dante, Jen.
Team Dante.
Danielle destroyed my heart.
Thank you, Jen.
So
Appreciate
sad.
that.
I'm
That's
angry.
always
Appreciate that.
good.
I need vengeance.
okay,
That's
so
a compliment.
with that, CR, tell us about yours.
So I'm Sierra Rice. I do young adult fantasy right now. I write the Realm series. It is actually the first Realm is wrapping up in January. So we will be going into Dark Noir. So that'll be exciting.
Yay.
Very cool. Vanessa.
So I write primarily fantasy, but I do have a couple of short stories on Amazon that are horror related, in like anthologies, which is Welcome to Whitebridge and is it the Demonic Household Items, which is one of Valerie's brainchilds, which I have demonic K-cups. That
I
are
don't
pumpkin
even wanna know what
spice.
a demonic K-cup is. That sounds terrible.
Pumpkin spice is demonic, and it makes a bunch of people in an office get a little crazy. So yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And speaking
Mark
of
is
getting a
drinking.
little demonic and crazy, Mark.
And
Yeah,
coffee.
I'm Mark Muncy. I'm the author of the Erie, Florida book series from History Press, and now Erie, Appalachia. And so all folklore, myths, legends, monsters, UFOs. I'm big with the tinfoil hat crowd at the paranormal cons and all that fun stuff. But I'm also writing a children's book for Four Horsemen that should be on the way soon, called
And is this-
Mothman is Missing.
Is this
So-
also a horror story for children?
Yeah, it's a spooky, scary story for kids.
Like
but you know,
Goosebumps?
I'd say a little. We're somewhere between Goosebumps and Christopher Pike, so a little more than Goosebumps, a little less than Christopher
Okay.
Pike.
Ooh.
That's
I like
that.
that's the area we're shooting for.
What's the length of the novel? Like,
Right now it's about 45,000 words, and it went off the rails and was at over 100,000 at one point, and now I realize that's not a kid's book. That's me going crazy. So that's why it's being rescheduled and rewritten. And that 100,000 word thing is going a completely different direction, going to be something else. So
ooh.
to be
I was
named
gonna say
later.
you could do
Project
like
to be
the
named.
light version. Like, you know how they always do like kid versions of things where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, here's the real, like fucking Disney movies. So it's
Yeah.
like, here's Peter Pan. It's a wonderful story. And then, you know, you have the actual story where it's like he literally ripped souls out of children. So like you could do like that.
Like Brom.
It's probably
like
what it's going to
Brom?
wind up being. It's something along those lines. So yeah.
Cool.
Yes, and Peter Pan. I think it's funny if people go read the original stories and not the Disney books. It's
I
a whole
love
different
Peter
thing.
Pan. He's my hero. Like the original story, he's my hero. All he wanted was friends and to be happy. And I feel like people judged him too harshly.
Yeah,
He
I
may
just
have
wanted
done a
to
few
know.
dark deeds, but you know what? Who doesn't do a few dark deeds now and then?
I think so did Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs, my friend.
See, skinny people is my line. See,
That
it's
went-
really weird. Everybody has their line. I'm really cool. Like somebody is trying to kill you, you can kill them. Or maybe somebody's just a giant dick. They kind of don't deserve a lot of things. Skinning people and wearing them as clothes, that's my line.
That's
Oh,
your
that's
line.
the line.
That's my line.
That's
All
the
right.
Okay, though. That's
Just
my
wanna
line.
make
Now
sure-
we have a line. Right. See,
Okay.
now we have a line. That's my
That's the
line.
line.
Note
Okay.
to self. All right, got it.
Yep.
Yeah,
exactly.
everybody
Yeah, we
note
know.
that down. That's her line.
Yep, that's
So-
the line.
Earlier, before we started recording this majestic 300 episode per thing, I was saying that, can you guys believe that J.M. Paquette here was the first episode?
She
What?
was. She was.
Yeah,
It was very
She was the
bashful.
first episode 299 episodes ago.
Look at you. Do you
Cheers.
feel fancy? Where's your special cup to commemorate being the first guest?
Right? You would think I should have like a mug or
Do you
something.
have
she's
a
got some
sash?
swag.
Like a sash that you just wear
Yeah.
around to the supermarket and like fluff your hair back as you walk by?
Damn it, Erica, why aren't you on this?
I will
I
get
can
you.
get you
I
a
will get you
sash.
if you want a sash. I'll get you a sash if you'll actually
Get
wear
that.
it.
I
That's
think I'm
easy.
good. I should
Right,
just get
Danielle's
a
with me.
ribbon to put
I
on a
got
badge
that.
at an event. That's what I should get, is the ribbon. First, drinking with authors.
Yeah, you got
I
there's
could
your crown.
swing
That's how
that
you get
out.
your crown. There you
Yeah,
go.
I can get
Danielle's
you-
already got you. We
I
got
got that.
That's because
easy.
I was the book that one of the authors when we did this in a bar, except
Yep.
then that got weird.
And the pandemic happened.
I was
Mhm.
I was
Nothing
there for
weird
that.
ever happens in a
Mhm.
bar.
My first
Way back
episode
when,
ever,
Mark,
like,
right?
Kathleen Turner. Kind of
Who
weird.
was your first episode, Val?
My first episode, I sounded like Kathleen Turner.
You did. You did.
That was actually the first episode I watched because, or listened to, I mean, because Val was like, I couldn't, I was like, how did you do an interview if you couldn't talk? She's like, well, Erica just made me drink hot alcohol or something.
Toddies.
Hot toddies. Hell
I will
yeah.
say, when I was actually on, the drinking with authors, like as author, it was when we were doing it at Erica's house still. And I went, and Vanessa, you were there. You remember she made my drink. She was like, drink it sparingly. And like, I took a drink and I couldn't fucking talk. They asked me a question and I was just like, so my story's about. And like, I couldn't breathe because, and Erica was like, is it good? Is everything okay? Does it taste right? And I was like, it's great. But
That's
like,
back when
I
Erica
chased
had-
it with coffee. It legitimately was a good drink. It's just she also plied me with coffee. So I wasn't expecting the burn of rum after coffee.
Erica comes well prepared.
She had a cheese plate, little.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah, I no longer am allowed to have food.
So I used to have food. When we did this, we recorded at my house and we had all this great sound equipment before we decided to do these lovely videos. And well, because we also thought, okay, this is cool. We'll invite authors to the house. And then I realized I don't want weirdo fucking authors at my house. So I started doing it in a bar. But then we invited Val over, who decided to eat while recording, while having a terrible voice, choking. So I no longer offered food to the guests because it became very
Drunk Val
hazardous.
uses it. Okay, drunk Val uses it as a means of stopping myself from answering a question I really shouldn't answer.
Ah,
Hey, Erica, we have a new thing. We're going to get together. You're going to come down. You're going to stay at my house. We're going to invite Val over for a meeting. And we're going to do a live drinking with authors. She can be at our taste test.
Oh, no, for the foods that people, the
no.
weird food combinations.
I don't know
Oh,
if you guys have
actually-
listened to some of these. It's traumatizing me. Like, it keeps me up at night, some of these things that people eat on a daily basis.
Like what?
Like John Scalzi's
Fish
burritos.
eyes and like people that say they don't like cereal. Like that just haunts me in my nighttime. I legitimately eat it may sound crazy, but I eat a bowl of cereal every night before I go to bed. Not even lying. I have special bowls. I have, in the hotels when you go and they have those fancy little cereal machines. I have 6 of them and they are all full and they all have different cereals. So
I can't remember the last time I ate cereal.
Danielle, don't
I'm
shake your
sorry.
head at me.
I'm so happy
My
Blueberry's finally
husband
back in
does this
stores. So I
blueberries
can
back at
restock.
Sam's Club. They had a whole set of all of them.
Cereal's
Frankenberry.
amazing.
Yes. I stocked up already. I would never
You know-
survive a zombie
Yeah,
apocalypse though,
time.
because it's always gone by February. And it's
Right?
gotta
They
last till
did
August.
Fruit
It's-
Loops. So, okay, let me just tell you, I mix cereals because I'm kind of a mad
Oh my
scientist.
God, my husband
But
does the
so-
same thing.
They made a Fruity Pebbles with marshmallows, okay?
Right? It was so good.
No,
It was so good.
my
It
kids
lasted
got it, and I was
1
like,
month.
too much.
What
It
is wrong with
lasted
you
1 month, but it's back.
It's like
and I have
Lucky
3
Charms
boxes.
marshmallows within the Fruity Pebbles, and I'm like, what is happening here?
It was wonderful.
It was not.
It was,
It
but
was-
they weren't the ridiculously big marshmallows like in Lucky Charms. They were just these cute little delicate ones.
It was.
Anyway.
We're actually debating the size of cereal marshmallows.
I love that people are listening to this podcast. And now, if in case anyone's wondering why we co-host and have a guest, is so that we don't go down these ridiculous tangents about marshmallows and Fruity Pebbles.
You would
I
never
will
think that
say,
this was a writer's podcast.
Never.
Every time we do interviews with people, I always get emails that appreciate me, and I still talk to Joe. Okay, like we did our little tangent about the Four Horsemen and Skunk Brothers thing, and he still talks to me all the time. So I know that we have fun guests.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
It was
Okay, well,
wonderful.
let's do this before we have to take our break here. Let's get all the hosts' weird food combinations.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah.
do
CR,
this.
prepare yourself. You need to go first, my love.
My favorite. Okay, so mine's great. I like pickles and Doritos. It's not weird. Why are you guys all
I can
doing
see that.
Wait, you eat them together?
Yeah, so okay, so this is what I do. You just open the bag of Doritos. Like, let's say you're having a really shitty day and you just want to I don't do the ice cream thing because that's cliche and I don't do cliches. So I put on
Good.
Just Friends. I grabbed a bag of Doritos and that gallon thing of Mount Olive pickles. So I sit on the couch and on one side and you take a Dorito and then you put them in Danielle. You got to try this. And
No,
you
I
stick the
don't.
pickle on it and you eat it. It's delicious. And then you have a drink too because you just drink the pickle juice and it's all in one. You're good.
I feel you, Danielle. I feel you.
Okay.
Why are
So
you guys
what-
acting like I'm crazy? Somebody
You're
send
not
me
crazy.
fish
Well,
eyes, okay?
You are crazy, but good crazy. But so now that you've officially caused the same effect that others cause on you, Danielle, what is your favorite weird food combination?
I do maybe, all right, maybe I do lime Tostitos and I'll do some, Reese's Pieces or M&Ms all in the same bowl. So you get the lime
But
sauce.
that's just fancy
on-
Chex Mix. That doesn't
Yeah, and
count.
I'm okay with that.
I like
That
that.
is fine with me.
I approve.
That is okay.
Oh my
I
God.
need a little soft, a little sweet. But
Okay.
it's got to be only the lime one. I can't have regular.
okay.
It's got to be the lime. I'm sorry. I'm
Okay.
not drinking pickle juice.
Miss
I'm-
Queen over Miss Queen over here
I'm
needs
so-
bougie Chex Mix.
Traumatized by the pickle juice.
Okay, well, now that we've traumatized Danielle with pickle juice, JM,
Yeah.
what about you?
I'm a super picky eater, so I was like peanut butter and marshmallow fluff. That's as crazy as I get. No, you know what I do? When we
Yeah.
used to have parties, I would put a bowl and I would put M&Ms and Skittles in the same bowl, and I like them together in my mouth. I like M&Ms and Skittles. in
You
the
see,
same
that's
bowl.
weird. That's sadistic. And I will tell you, I went to a party one time and I thought it was fucking Skittles. I was traumatized. Okay. It's the same thing with the Coke and the Pepsi. I used to have an aunt that swore she only drank Diet Coke, but then you drink it, it was regular full flavor Pepsi that just exploded everywhere. No. That's like oatmeal raisin cookies. It's just lies.
Okay. Mark, what's your weird food combination?
I gotta say my favorite
Danielle.
thing is
I'm hurt.
doing like an egg salad, but with eating it with salt and vinegar potato chips.
Oh,
Yes.
Pringles.
Are you from the
Yeah, like
Northeast?
I am from the Midwest, so yeah, it was a thing
Basically,
that
yeah.
and a little bit of hot sauce on it, maybe some bacon bits.
Mhm.
There you go.
Okay,
I can
that's
do
weird.
most of these. Okay.
You do it like
Vanessa?
that. You do the duck thing with the Pringles, with the egg salad in the middle, maybe a little strip of bacon. Boom, done.
I mean, I don't go bougie like that. I just throw some chips on the bread between the eggs. Like,
I'm usually just dipping the
I
egg
don't
salad with
make.
the
I wasn't allowed to
Pringles.
play with my food. So like, do the duck thing.
You do the
Okay.
duck thing. Wah, wah, wah. Yep.
Well, actually, mine has salt and vinegar chips too, but I like
Okay.
eating, like getting my mouth like really salty, vinegary, and then just chugging back Coke. I don't know if it's just the sweet and the salty, but I love it like when my mouth gets like super salty and vinegary, and then just drinking some Coke afterwards.
You mentioned
So
that
you're doing a human Mentos and Coke?
I don't know.
you
I
talked
don't
about squirt earlier. That works really well with the salt and vinegar too. If you haven't tried the grapefruit
Yes, it
squirt.
does.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
and I don't know if this is weird too, but like sticking salty French fries in like a Wendy's chocolate frosty.
Oh, that's
That's a
common.
Southern thing. That's
A lot
Yeah,
of
normal.
people
that's
do
a southern
that.
thing.
Danielle,
That's
you live
normal.
in North Carolina. You can't do that face.
No,
I've never heard of this before. It's a New York thing.
It's like you guys
I've
have
never
opened the
heard
gates
this.
of hell.
no,
Yeah,
I
like
I
Cerberus
do
is
the
gonna come
Wendy's and
through
the
at any
French
moment
fries.
now.
Okay, Val, what about you?
Oh, okay. On a writer level, everyone thinks it's weird that my writing go-to snacks that I will eat in tandem is a Slim Jim Doritos and chocolate milk.
Sorry.
It seems like a
I'm
road
sorry,
trip
what?
thing.
And that too.
Slim Jim Doritos and chocolate milk.
The thing that drives my family crazy is Thanksgiving time. I just mix everything into the mashed potatoes and gravy. Like I pour everything
No,
on
I
a
do
plate,
that.
and then I just
Okay, I can
I
And
just
then
mix
you
it,
drink everything
and then
out
I
of a
just
pickle
use
jar. You drink
the
everything out of a
stuffing,
pickle jar.
including the
the
pickle juice.
corn, the green
Hey,
beans.
you guys freaked out when I said
Everything
pickles and
together.
Doritos, but this woman is drinking chocolate milk as she eats a Slim Jim. Okay, so
Yeah,
and
I
Doritos.
can't. I can't. It just what the fuck is wrong with you people? I don't have to
the only thing missing
Like
on my
it's
sandwich is
the gates of hell. They're open. What the hell? Where did I come
I also
from?
enjoy
wait,
I also
I have
enjoy
one.
sardines and mustard on a cracker.
I'm sorry, you do what?
I have
Sardines.
another one.
Yeah,
I-
sardines.
You eat sardines?
Yeah, sardines.
Val, I don't know if we can be friends anymore.
I can't eat with you people.
My dad
Can
got
you-
me on Vienna sausages and pot meat, or yeah, the potted meat sandwiches and yeah.
Potted
Okay,
meats.
Val, I need
How
to
the hell
know
did you just
know
add your
potted
daily
meats?
diet to our list?
It's like
I'm
it's like a
confused.
spread on bologna. I
Mhm.
mean,
It's
that's
not.
you throw a slice of cheese on there.
My brain
Mayo.
hurts.
Oh, you got to do it. You got to do it the Elvis style, Valerie, with banana, a slice of fried banana, and
And a
peanut
strawberry.
butter on the spam.
Oh.
It's so good.
Oh,
My
Okay,
ex
look.
used to take bologna in the
Danielle, I'm with
blender
you on that one. Danielle's
the
looking just flabbergasted.
mayonnaise.
I'm with you. There's no such thing as spread on bologna. Okay, that's not a thing.
It is. It's called potted meat.
It's spam or Vienna
Spam.
sausages. Yeah,
No, spam you have to slice and fry up.
yeah, it's true. It is better that way.
oh my
But
god!
I said my ex put it in the blender. He would blend bologna and mayonnaise and smear it on a sandwich. It was so
That's
gross.
potted meat.
Oh my gosh.
So
Okay,
gross.
Erica, these don't count. Okay, these don't count
Danielle's
because this
like,
was
"I
not
never
asked. Okay, I'm not eating a fucking sardine. It's just not happening. I will
There's
go
also
online.
something cool on TikTok with yellow mustard on a
No.
watermelon.
Okay,
You
we're
know,
gonna hard
it's
pass on this. We need to take a break anyway, thank God. And we're gonna be right back. I
Erica,
think,
what's
with
yours?
this host episode. What?
You didn't add yours.
Yeah, what's
Oh.
yours? You don't get out of this.
Oh yes,
Um,
please add to this, Erica.
oh, God.
Please.
Other no one can beat Val.
So I like salty potato chips and dip it in cottage cheese.
That makes sense.
That's okay.
Very similar to what I
That
do.
makes sense.
Because it's potatoes
Yeah.
with cheese
Are
curd,
you
basically,
kidding
and
me?
sour cream. That's all that
And you
is.
just sit there like, no, that makes
Easy
sense.
sour cream on
The other thing
potatoes.
I do, which annoys
Mhm.
the crap out of my boyfriend, which he doesn't understand this, is I'll take sharp cheddar cheese and put peanut butter on it and eat it.
Okay, now that's special.
That's okay. That's okay. I actually was trying to think of one that I
I
do.
just said that's okay. That's
Where
not okay.
am I?
You need a
Exactly.
therapist, sweetheart? Like, I have numbers. That is not okay.
You guys have all turned into the Muppets as far as my brain is concerned because it's processing it so much better that way.
Wait, this is what we have to ask instead. How did you get that weird food combination? How were you sitting there, Erica, with cheddar cheese and peanut butter and like, all right,
Well,
Yeah, it's
so I'll answer this, but then we're taking our break.
okay.
So I will make little like plates of snack foods, like, cheese and pickles and meats and stuff like that. And I had crackers and I was like, oh, you know what? Peanut butter would be good on the crackers too. Like just weird little snackies. And then I was like, I wonder what this cheese would taste like. Called. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so creamy and good. And that's how that happened.
When I was
Just want you to
pregnant,
know, I'm putting these all on the list, but I hate you all.
you brought me a jar of
Okay.
peanut butter and like 6 string cheeses, and that's how you were like, you're eating these.
Oh,
oh my god. Yeah, once again, Muppets. It's better
Okay.
than Muppets.
You can do the.
Yeah. Yep, it's better.
Okay, we're taking a break and
Mhm.
maybe coming back to record a second half.
Sample locally sourced, quality distilled spirits in the beautiful Columbia River Gorge. At Skunk Brothers Distillery, we're family owned, brewing small batch grain to bottle spirits, just like our grandfather did back in the Prohibition era. From handcrafted bourbons and moonshine to flavored blends and cordials infused with local fruit. Join us for a tasting tour and buy Skunk Brothers spirits straight from the source.
It's all in the family at Skunk Brothers Spirits, located in Stevenson, Washington.
Action to pickles and Doritos far surpassed.
Val's
Fine.
Doritos and
It's
chocolate milk
fine.
every time I see. She does it when we're working at
Have you
night.
The
and I'm like,
sardines
"Oh."
and mustards, like you guys are more
my
obsessed
my
with.
dad's a fisherman. I go fishing. I catch my own fish and cook it. That's a thing I do.
And you're just like, fuck it, I'll take a bite out of this floundering.
Yeah, and my
Like, are
dad
you
likes
kidding?
it. I mean, it's got to be good. I mean, that's the brain. That's the brain. That's how the brain goes. And I'm like, this isn't what I expected it to be. It's kind of, fishy and mustardy and
Traveling with you guys for cons is going to be interesting, isn't it? I can just.
I
it's
mean,
gonna be-
myself. I bring Pop Tarts, chips,
I bring alcohol.
water.
Okay, I just want to point out that Val can be used to supply all the junk food on any sort of con voyage because
I will
when
say,
it comes to
bake
getting
like a
food, she is
mother.
not the best at, let's get the healthy food. She's like, let me get chips and cookies and Pop-Tarts.
But they satisfy
I mean,
because
you
you're
need
like, I don't
those.
want to eat those things. I want to feel better about myself for 5 fucking minutes. I'm gonna cram a cookie in my
And
face.
it is better
will
than
say-
anything they serve at any con. So
amen to that.
Very true. I bake though, so I don't know who has been in the office when my husband's been there. I know a couple of you work there. My shit's legit, and that stuff is all low calorie because I like food, but I also am determined to stay in a certain weight class. So if you guys want a road trip, I got you.
nice.
Yes,
We will be
well,
super extra, and I will bring cake and cupcakes, and you won't even know the difference.
No,
I am
There you go.
notorious.
I need something.
So,
There we go.
Yeah.
I got you, Danielle.
Okay.
so now that we've gone over our array of food,
Are we
let's talk
recording
about
it?
something else. So you realize that at 300 episodes, that means we've been doing this podcast. Let me think, because 52 weeks a year for over 3 years, we've been doing this podcast.
I want to say November of 2019 was around the time of the first episode with Jen.
Because you were
But if you
there.
only do one podcast,
because that was
that's
like episode
6
2.
years.
And I know it was November when I didn't have a voice and I was struggling. The struggle is real, Erica.
It was. I somehow feel like you made this about you when I was asking a different question. So,
I
okay.
don't mean to do it.
You weren't even weren't there at the recording of Jen's episode, just for the record.
I
You weren't
listened
there.
to it. I was like one of the first people who listened to it.
Okay.
She listened to it, Erica. That's very important. She was there in spirit.
She was an active participant.
You were.
There you
Oh
go.
my God.
I was
We're
actively
with you,
supporting it.
Valerie. We appreciate you.
I appreciate you very much. Yeah.
Okay.
Jen appreciates you.
So back to the question I actually asked, weirdo, drink your margarita shit, was what's very different for you guys now than 3 years ago? Because this all started pre-COVID, and then we went through COVID. We're still kind of in COVID, although everybody's forgotten about it. What's different for you? Danielle, do you want to go first?
I'm a horseman now. I wasn't one then. I was
You have
I
a
was
horse?
floundering
We
on
talk all the
my own.
time.
I was floundering on my own back in 2019, writing the first birth of Faye locked out of heaven in the Christian fiction category.
As it should be. I'm just kidding.
Well-
I'm just kidding. That was a joke. Nobody freaked the fuck out. That was a joke. If you're not watching YouTube, you wouldn't see my face. Just
I
a
got
joke.
you. And now I am riding with the horsemen. That is the difference.
That is very,
With-
very true.
With 4 books and a novella.
Yes.
And
yes.
it's so good.
Thank you, Jen. I turned it in on time. You
Valerie left.
Nobody wants to
Valerie's
know.
gone.
Valerie just
Valerie's
dipped
like,
out
I'm
on
out.
us.
She's one of the
And
horsemen.
then
I'm out.
Valerie's gone. That's how that happens. Okay.
Yeah.
You were
and-
She'll
too
pop
much. You
back in,
overseen
I
it.
believe, or power just went out and she was struck down for the anchovy thing. That could happen. What about you, Mark?
Oh man, well for me, I think we did the first in the bar, like I said, the pre-show where was I think I was still just doing the self-pub stuff then. And then we
Mhm.
did first episode, one of the early episodes, I think it was like 9 or 10. And we did Erie had just come out and I think you were the first podcast I did. And then the next thing I know, I'm doing Coast to Coast AM and the big radio shows. And then and now I'm on Travel Channel, Discovery Channel. I'm doing documentaries as a talking head and it's like, what? And now I'm guest speaking at the Mothman Festival. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this is
So what we can
insanity.
all derive from this is being on Drinking with Authors launches
Yes.
you
Makes
to
you
great
successful.
fame.
launches you
Yes.
launches you to the stratosphere. Yes.
Oh my
Not
God.
not that I can still quit the day job yet, but we're getting there, which is the scary
So
thing.
close.
The
Mark,
fact
you know
that
what you
it's-
gotta do.
I can see a light. It's crazy. So that's nuts.
That's so cool. What about you, JM?
Well, I finally finished that series and wrote a second one and other stuff. So I've published more of the things since then. Also, yeah, I'm a horseman as well.
We're a horseman as well. I think everybody on here is a horseman, so that goes along with it and being a
does.
horseman. That's very cool. What about you, CR?
3 years ago? We'll go with
3
the positive
years.
stuff. Okay. So let's see. I became a horseman in, what was it, 2020?
Yeah.
Was it 2020? I am about to have 8 books in total out, which I didn't realize was a big deal until I realized and broke down the maths.
Yeah.
And I'm ending my first realm, which is awesome. And it's so weird as an author. Does anybody else that do series but when you get near the end of it, you're like, dude, I just want to kill you all. Like to
I want
just
everyone
end
to
it?
ride off happily into the sunset. That's
Oh no,
but
see,
I'm
I
done
go
with it.
Jam, I go opposite. I know you've checked out a few of my things. Shit gets dark. But I feel like you're just ready to be done with it. And like, you're excited for like the next chapter, which book irony, but it's been weird. 3 years to think I went from, I don't know, 50 half done book things and maybe thinking about publishing something in the future to by the end of the year, I'll have 8 out. Like, that's insane. And it's all because of Four Horsemen. So that's pretty badass. I mean,
Well,
I did
it's
a little
also
bit of the
you.
work.
I mean, the horseman helps, but you have to be able to write that much. I know, that's a key part. What about you, Vanessa? 3 years. 3 years.
I don't know. I would say just meeting and connecting with a lot of people, because I feel like my writing community was like super small, and now I've met so many cool people, and it's been an awesome experience.
Yes. It's very cool. That's what I think about a lot, is the number of authors that we've met on this podcast, different authors from
Yes.
different places, you know.
And it's not
And-
even just authors, like Erica, we've done a couple of voiceover people, and we've done like the actors that have turned into things, and like just the way that all of the artistic community just like kind of interweaves. I think I never realized that, like before this podcast. I never realized how much everything weaves into each other. I guess that was naive. But like,
I don't think it's naive. I think it's something that's not talked about a lot. I think there's a lot that is not discussed in the author community, and especially connecting and creating a community. Because I think a lot of authors don't necessarily know where to go to get a community and do things. And
Yes.
you know, you can find out a lot about how to write and do stuff like that, but hearing the stories of where people came from brand new people. You know, one of my favorite stories recently was an author that came on, and she was 70 years old when she retired and decided to write a book.
Oh.
Like, can you even like think with,
Can't even.
I'm 70, I'm retiring, I'm going to go write a book. And she's on her second one, and her first book became a USA bestseller.
yeah, within the first week, I was so mad, like deep.
Yeah, there's a little bit of,
tell you
yeah.
something. So it's one of those where you're like, oh my God, that's so amazing. And on the inside, you're like, you know, because you have the angel devil thing. It's just like, you son of a bitch. Like, are you kidding me?
And she's just like, it just happened. I was lucky. And I'm like,
Oh, yeah, you were lucky.
Right? She's like, it was just so easy. And I'm like, you know what?
No, it's not easy.
Whew, there's not
But
enough warnings for this show.
I have to say, because I met Vanessa, I met you first, met Erica, and when I did my first podcast, and I
was
did not
there.
think. Yeah, no, my first podcast, Drinking with Authors. My second one was with UCR. My first one was with Vanessa and Erica when I was with my other publisher, and it was so funny because Vanessa was like, "I think you should come talk to us," and I was like, "Yeah, okay." And Erica looked at me. She's like, "So let me ask you a question. Are you happy with your publisher?" And I was like, and I'm like, how do I say this nicely? Okay, we're not recording, so I can. And I'm like, well, and Vanessa's like, yeah, why don't you tell us? And just leaned in, and you guys were both like, so what's going on? And I'm like, oh, okay. And then at that point, I was like, maybe I should consider jumping ship. And then, you know, when I switched, I was so happy. And then I had my little nervous breakdown around book 2. And Jen was really cool because Jen was like, I'm going to talk her off the ledge now. Because I called up. I was like, I don't think I'm right for this place. I was like, I don't know if I can keep up.
Wonderful.
And Jen was like, okay, we're going to talk you off the ledge now. And then at the end, Jen was like, are we done? And I was like, I think I'm okay. And I was like, wow, there are nice people in the publishing world, because I had not experienced that yet. I was just used to, like, even though I was with a traditional publisher, doing everything like down to uploading Ingram, like on my own. I was so by myself that I'm like, oh, there are nice people here. I'm like, I don't have to do this alone. I'm like, oh, wow, that's kind of cool. Like, it was such a new experience. And it was all from the podcast, from agreeing. Because I remember when Stephanie was like, I got this podcast, Drinking with Authors. She's like, I'm just letting you know, they drink. She's like, are you sure you can handle this? She's like,
I mean, I don't know if you remember me and Erica during that one. It was quite fantastic.
Well,
And I was like,
what's funny is hearing what Stephanie says about it. She refers us a lot of authors because she does the book and wine. I'm saying this wrong, Danielle.
Yes.
book and wine lovers. Yeah,
Yeah,
book and
she
wine
does the
marketing.
book and
That's who
wine
she
lovers.
is.
So she sends us a lot of guests. So I always wonder what people who send us a lot of guests say about our podcast to them. Like,
She's
what
always
is
like,
this?
listen. She always tells me, she's like, go listen to them first before we say yes to this. And that's what she did with me. She's like, go listen to the podcast first. Make sure you can hang. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And she said, she was like, you don't really have to drink. And I was sitting there drinking. And that's where the Anne Frank story came out. And when Stephanie heard that, she listened to it. She goes, you rewrote the ending to Anne Frank and admitted that out loud. And I was like, yeah, that might not, I was like, Stephanie, that may not have been my best moment ever. And she was
Everybody
like,
has a dark writing moment.
she was like, you're on blasphemy list. You really had to go rewrite the ending of a classic and admit it. I was like, yeah. I'm like, okay, now that I think about it, I was like, we probably could. I was like, that was the liquor. I'm like, that was, she was like, yeah, that's where you put water in the glass, Danielle. She's like, you hold up the bottle and you drink water. She was like, you could have figured this one out.
Okay, so how about this? How did Erica get us all? Like, how did we come to be with Four Horsemen and drinking with authors? Like, what is the overall experience? Because I just totally jacked this from Erica.
Oh,
Nobody look at Erica on the screen. I'm blocking this side because that's where Erica is.
my favorite. Oh, you know, the one I think you should ask first is Jen.
Mm-hmm.
Jen, because Erica's over here. I won't tell her, I promise.
Yeah, it's just us, Jen.
How did you encounter? Here comes Valerie. At
Here
the
comes
last.
Val. That's good.
I
The
was just
11th
gonna
hour,
say.
here comes Valerie.
What did I miss?
We missed you, buddy.
Ciara's put a question before people, and she's starting
No,
with Jen.
What I'm doing is, because my hand's right here, Erica can't hear me. Okay. Jen, how did Erica suck you into Four Horsemen? What happened?
Because I've known Erica for
It'll
20
stay
odd
between
years
us,
now. And every now and again, when we would talk about writing, she would be like, we should start a publishing company. I was like, we should. And then we would get a bunch of people together and they wouldn't, and then it would fall apart. And then one day, one magical day, Erica met Val. And all of a sudden, this idea that we had had for years and years and years was actually a thing. So that's
Hey,
how,
look at
that's
that.
how I
I
got
didn't even
roped in.
have to block. Okay, block her
Yeah,
coming
but
down.
wait,
Erica, welcome back.
Ciara, hold on. That's how Jen
Oh,
got into
oh,
Four
okay.
Horsemen. Ask her how she met me.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Jen,
Oh, you want
block
those-
her back up. Block her
Okay,
back up.
so I met
Absolutely.
Erica many years ago so I went to high school with a guy who used to run D&D games named Jim. And Jim, in addition to running
Erica, you
games
kicked
for
his ass, didn't you?
our group of people, and also
Yeah.
ran groups, games for lots of other people. So Jim knew Erica. I did not. I was not part of Erica's crowd. Like, it was a different crowbar separation. So anyway, one day Jim was like, hey, it wasn't even Jim. It was actually Amanda, who was a friend of mine in the Jim, Deanne, Nick group, who was like, hey, Jim is running a game with some new people. Do you guys want to come? And we were like, yeah, that's fine. Give us the address. So the day of the game arrives and Jim calls and what was it? He wasn't even going to be there. Jim was like, yeah, I'm sick. I'm not able to go, but here's the address. Just call. It's a gated community. So just push in the number and tell them you're there for the game and they'll let you in. So Mike, my ex at the time, was like, are we really going to go to a stranger's apartment? And
I was just
like,
thinking the
show
same
up
thing. Like, you
and
guys
be
were
like,
so
hi,
unsafe.
we're here for the game. This is how people get murdered. But we did. And I showed up and I met Erica and a couple of other people who are gone. But I met Remy that day. And now 20 years later, I'm married to Remy. So thanks, Erica.
So it was, are you saying that it was rainbows and unicorns? If you play D&D, it's rainbows and unicorns?
That's exactly what I'm
After?
saying. That's totally what happens.
Okay.
When you meet people and come together for a game.
That's what I got.
D&D will change your life.
Okay. I mean, that's my understanding. What does everybody else think? That was basically the story.
That's the story I'm
That's the
telling.
story.
They were fated.
They were
Yeah.
fake.
How about Val? Val's a fun one.
Okay, Val, what do we got? Do
Huh.
we need the blocker up or
We need
down?
the cone
Did
of
I
silence.
feel like I missed a question in the time frame I was gone. I
It
feel
was
like
how's your life different from when Drinking with Authors started 3 years ago?
I know famous people and they like me.
Val
you do?
was
It
the
was
cool
the-
kid.
It was the
Not a
and they
start.
like me that got me. It was the excited
like
and they
me.
like Yeah.
Jonathan Mayberry finds the manatee issue a fascinating dilemma that I have.
Oh, I can't wait for Dragon Con because that's not going to end badly for all of us, possibly.
I was
And I
gonna say,
brag,
boy, that's
and
gonna
I
go well,
brag
huh?
to this day how I get to be friends with Erie, Florida guy.
Mark, you're Erie, Florida guy. Val, you're not answering the question though. How did
Okay.
you
Yeah.
get me?
So it was wordier than thou. I think you guys were here in Orlando, MegaCon, and through the grapevine. So everyone in Orlando, O-Town, knows Val as the filler spot person. Like if you got a spare spot or need a moderator on a fly, you call Val, the author. She'll be there no time flat because I like free tickets to geek cons. Yes, I'll do the thing. So they're like, hey, can you dress up as one of your characters and be on this panel? I'm like, fuck yeah, for MegaCon, yes, I could do this. I get there and I quickly discovered that Erica and I were of like mind. Like we were running that booth. I don't know where Tiffany was at any given point, but me and Erica were selling fucking books, man. And we were pulling people over and selling books. And of
But I
course,
feel like
Tiffany
you have already met at this point. I'm so confused because you went from not knowing her to you guys selling
she was
books.
just a faux author and we were there to work a con.
You were just like, high five, I don't know your name, but
Yeah,
keep going?
exactly.
Okay.
And then she's like, this is my book, and my face turned red because it's my home on Rhode Island. And I'm like, well, ma'am, you're a little bit more risque than what she's like, but yours is Cedric the Demonic Knight. I'm like, trust me, I'm rated G compared to you. But I dressed up as my character, and of course I fucked myself because I wore shoes I hadn't worn before and totally fucked up my heels.
Oh,
Are you talking like
Done that
platforms or like boots? What
They
are you
were
working with here?
boots and they ate into the back of where your ridgely ankles. Yep.
Oh,
Totally scraped me dry. And I ended up buying, luckily there was someone selling flip-flops, and I think it was Desiree that went and did the exchange with the flip-flop guy. But went on stage and they ended up not needing me technically because we had to squish like 2 or 3 extra chairs. And what it was is that her authors hadn't confirmed whether or not they were going to show. But we made do. Erica moderated that panel. We had a good time. And next thing I know, she started inviting me out to other conventions. And we started to get to know each other really well. And I think the last con we did before we started Four Horsemen and had that just real like serious sit down talk about it. And I'm pretty sure this was shortly after it was before the podcast too. She's like, hey, I've got a spot on a romance panel is all I heard and read. And he said, yeah, I love going on panels. I'll talk about romance scenes.
For the record, I didn't say romance, but continue.
Val, how was
what
your
we're
talk
doing.
about sexy, dirty things? Is basically what I'm getting from that. How was it?
It was at Fetish Con in St. Petersburg.
Yes.
I'm like, where are we going?
Oh wait, I remember the story. Didn't you say you would see like random dildos and like weird things and your face started turning
Random
red
everything.
every time you passed by something?
It's
So
okay, Val.
like,
Just calm down. You don't have to be red. It's been years. Just
Ooh,
calm down.
dude, I'm like, they're like, you can't use your real name. I'm like, but my author name is my real name. They're like, well, you can't use real names to get into this con. And I'm like, how fucking crazy is this convention? And Erica, who was the only one who knew about the other name that my friends had dubbed me at the coffee shop, goes, you have another name. I'm like, I can't use that here. I can't be here as her. And I'm trying to tell the guy and I can't. I said, give me a sticky note. And I write it down and the guy flips over the sticky note and he goes, nice. And thus, Honey Cummings had her first convention.
Val, you are so red. It's so adorable.
Well, I think
no
the
one's
best part,
been years.
And Erica's like, what are you fucking looking at? And because every time I'd look down, I would see more of the things I was avoiding and I'd have to suddenly jerk up.
Yeah.
And I was almost running into people and things.
And now you write sex scenes about people destroying bathroom sinks.
Ooh.
and now you're
I've
fucking
done
with
that every
Sasquatch.
once in a while.
Yep.
It's
Sasquatch.
completely realistic.
New Jersey.
okay, I gotta add one little story to the Val thing, and then you gotta go to Mark next. So Val, we're walking through this convention, and she sees there's a booth. I'm going to say a booth. And she goes, oh my God, that looks just like the necklace I wore in high school.
Oh,
And I look over at what she's talking about, and they're collars.
Oh,
They're like dominant
Oh.
submissives
Val, honey,
it
who
has
gave you
the
the necklace?
on it.
I-
And I'm like, you wore this all through high school? Who was your dom? And she's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like,
Oh.
this is bondage gear. This is what this is.
Val,
And
we
then
gotta
she
talk
found
off
a
screen because I
picture in
gotta
her
know background.
phone with the necklace on from when she was a teenager.
I really thought you were gonna say she was wearing anal beads all through high school.
I
was like, is that where we're going with this?
Val, we gotta talk off screen. I gotta know background. I gotta know what the hell you secretly got looped into.
They open a
Now
Hot
I'm wondering about
Topics
those
at my
parties and
local
stuff.
small town mall, and I just thought it was a really cool goth necklace.
Oh, honey.
So
Oh,
sweet.
It's okay.
Fancy.
That's like a chick going from
No one
Abercrombie and Fitch
ever
because she wants to piss off her
corrected it.
parents. Like,
Yeah,
I went to
no.
college wearing
Val,
that.
Val had an interesting day that day. I do have to
that's
say.
okay. All right, Mark, how did you meet Erica and get with Four Horsemen?
Again, it was pre Drinking with Authors days. I was Wordier Than Thou was the group that hosted little events around St. Pete, Tampa, and all that. And I knew was it Tiffany, I think, ran that, and she
Still does.
reached out and said, hey, we're doing a thing where we do a thing where we go to a bar and we know your new book's coming out, and you come to the bar and we'll sell your book to about a dozen people who showed up. And I'm like, all right, I'm good with that. So went down and I was like, well, where's Tiffany? And Erica immediately comes up, says, hey, I'm the one running this. And we just hit it off fast as good friends. And we talked books, and she ran the little panel, and it was great. And then a little bit later, she's like, hey, I'm going to be doing a podcast. You want to be on that? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And, I've done a million podcasts since, but that was like one of the first. So too much fun.
Yes.
Not much more
I've
to it,
basically
gang.
been
Sorry.
stalking Mark for years is really what's happening there. It's,
And the
Very subtle
secret
stalking.
comes out.
yeah.
It was no more to it than that. Just it was one
Well,
of those
what
things.
was really funny too with Mark is his wife used to sell me comic books at the comic book
Comic book
store.
store. I stalked her from the comic book store for years. That was, she's the cute girl at the comic shop. Of course, I had to chase her for years. But it was fun because we have the same circle of friends. And so I had heard stories about this lady, but had never met. And she had also heard stories about me. And it was finally when we finally started talking, we're like, oh, you know them. Oh, you know them. Oh, that was you they were talking about. Oh, that was you. A lot of Renaissance Festival people, a lot of horror people. It was funny that these small circles just hadn't intertwined yet. So
Yeah, we were infamous to each other
Yes,
for
yes.
most of the time. Vanessa?
ooh, I'm gonna blame Valerie. No, I'm just kidding. It was Valerie and I used to be in a writing group in Orlando, and so Valerie and I like stayed in contact. And she's like, I met this person, and she's like the perfect person to start the publishing company of my dreams. And I was like, what? Who is this magical creature? And so Valerie introduced me, and and then I met Erica in this was like during COVID. You couldn't do open mics out in public. So we did like a Zoom. Do you remember that, Erica? We did like a Zoom chat with like Brandon. This was before Brandon joined Four Horsemen, and it was a couple other people. And I never read my writing out loud to anyone ever. And so Erica goes, so Vanessa, what did you bring to read? And I was like, and Erica goes, okay, try again. What is it that you're gonna read? Basically didn't give me
We've all
a
been hit by
choice
that.
to decline. So I literally busted out my writing and read my work for the first time because Erica gave me tough love. So that's how I know her.
That's awesome.
It's true. Now, CR, what about now the camera turns to you, my love?
So mine was Corey, my husband, came to me and he was like, hey, you keep sending me these random things you're writing. He's like, what would you do if I told you I know a publisher? And I was like, whatever, no big deal, sure. And he's like, but like, would you sit down with them? And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And he's like, cool, so we're gonna meet with her on Saturday. And I was like, excuse me? And he's like, no, we're gonna go. And we had just moved to Florida at this point. And so we had chaos. And so we go and we had our son. And so I show up and I'm like, you know what, honey, I'm not feeling good. Why don't we just like, I have a little tickle in my throat. Like, I'm not feeling good. And he was like, no, like, that's called nerves. And so what you're gonna do is you're gonna pull yourself together, because he's very much the, I'm going to make you do this type of thing. So then we go, and the whole time, like, I just remember like distracting myself with my son, because you know that's very important in a very important meeting, that you have distractions. But so like I'm doing the whole thing, and Erica was just like, what is your idea? And so like I'm like, oh well, you know, this is kind of what it is. And she's like, okay. And like it's just started very casual. And then before I knew it, it was just seamless, like just explaining everything. And she's like, great, so I'll send you a contract. And I was like, excuse me? Like, what do you like? Until I had the actual, like, we just talked, we sat in the middle of Barnes and Noble and Starbucks, and like I was like, she bought my son a cookie at one point because he got fussy, and like, but the whole time it was seamless. It was just, we were talking like two normal people and doing the whole thing. And then it was just, you know, I'm going to send you a contract on Monday or the next day or whatever it was. And I was like, holy shit. Like, I thought it was a lie. Like, I thought it was my husband trying to just like boost my confidence and do that type of thing. And she was like, no, I love the idea. Send us a submission. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then, you know, I always wanted to write. I didn't want to publish, but he was that type of person. So I picked through, I don't know if you guys have that trash folder. Do you have that like random ideas that have started that don't actually have anything? I went through that for like 2 days and was just like, which idea is the best? I still have it. And like, I was like, this one can be a series. Like I could really dig in deep with this one. And so I sent it to her and she's like, I love it. Like there's so many directions you can take with this. Like, let's do it. And I went to Corey and I was like, holy shit, like Erica. And he's like, yeah. I was like, that lady we met? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, she really liked my idea. And he's like, I told you, like, she'd be completely honest. And I was like, no, but like, is she being honest? And he was like, she's doing it as a company. Like, she's seriously honest. And I was like, holy shit, like, I'm doing this. And then I remember calling Erica and being like, are you sure? Like, are you really sure? And she was like, yes, this is what we're going to do. This is what you have to do. And I went from no finished stories. Like, I have a folder on my computer that has 50 random ideas, probably 60, 70,000 words a piece with no ending to them, to just knocking shit out, because I was like, holy shit, like this is really happening. And you get that, like those like endorphins. So yeah, Erica scared the shit out of me. And now I have 8 books out because I thought it was all a lie. Like I thought it was like some
scaring the shit out of people is an effect I have most of the time, actually.
That's part of her character.
It wasn't even that. It was just a
special ability.
It wasn't even her, because like I would have that conversation just like, how are you doing? You know, whatever. And then I'd get the email and it's like, how's your book coming? And it was like a serial killer type thing, you know what I mean? Where it's like, oh my God, she remembers.
That's on brand.
That's how it kind of felt in those first couple months, where I was like, okay, I'm on track, but like, what's going on? And then it would just be like, how's your book coming? And I'm like, oh my God, they remember me. Like it was like just that real feeling with like somebody actually cares and it's not like a scam. Because I remember reading about all those people that like submit their stuff, and you know, people want their submissions, but then it's like they're $3,000 in and their book's not out. And I was like, this is just lies. But it was genuinely like, hey, like your deadline's coming up, do you need something? And it was just the whole entire, like, they legitimately, like, this is real, they care, they do the whole thing. So yeah, that's how I met Erica. Blew my fucking mind.
I
We didn't do
tend to have that
Danielle.
effect on people.
Now we're BFFs. secretly stalk her, wave at her in a window at
That's
night.
okay.
Just
I'm
kidding.
still
like thousands
stalking
of
Mark.
miles away.
I'm gonna get that book out of Mark.
I know she stuck Danielle for a long time.
But Erica, how's yours? How is that going? I can't remember.
I actually been writing in it, so you can give me crap, but I've been writing. Yeah.
Good.
Oh, I'm so
Ooh.
excited for you. Erica, how did you meet you? How did you meet?
No,
Four
we need
Horsemen?
Danielle. We skipped Danielle.
Oh, we skipped Danielle.
Well,
I thought we got Danielle. Did we not?
I got it. Yeah, I met you guys on the podcast, but I will say
Okay.
the first time they told me I was going to be on the cover was Erica and Val. When we were having that discussion, because Val pulled out so let's talk about your cover.
Let's talk about
And I
these
was like-
pictures that you
Well, the
have
first
put
time
in
I was
this
like,
folder.
I already designed the cover for book 2. And you were like, and remember Val went, yeah. And I was like, so I sent it to you and you were like, have you ever seen that cover in the light? And I'm like, yeah. And you were like, no, in the real light. And I was like, in daylight? And you were like, no, under fluorescent lights, because it was the pale blue one. And you were like, do you know what happens to pale blue and pearlescent white writing in fluorescent lights? And I was like, you can read it. And you were like, no, you cannot. And you were like, I took it and I put it under the light and it washes out. And I was like, oh, I'm like, yeah, I paid for that. And you were like, yeah. So, what do you do with those promo shots of you as the mermaid? And I was like,
Do
I
you
don't
have
know.
the
I was like,
rights to those?
yeah, I was like, Fame magazine was supposed to use it. They didn't use it. And you were like, but you own those, right? I'm like, yeah. And you were like, yeah,
Give me,
we're going to put you on the cover.
give
Okay.
me a
You don't
couple
mind,
days.
right?
Give me a couple days. See what I'm gonna put you on the cover.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm sorry, we're going to do what now? And you were like, yeah. So we're going to try something. And I was like, okay, so here's the deal with that. I'm like, we all agree we're not going to airbrush me to look 25. You were like, yep. And I'm like, and when the time comes that I can't be on the cover, I was like, you guys are going to buy me some Haagen-Dazs, sit me down, let me cry, tell me that I got to pass
We're
the
gonna get you
baton.
some pickles and Doritos.
Yeah, right. And I'm going to cry out of my freaking mind. Tell you, I was like, we're going to say fuck off. And then you're going to call me back the next day and make sure I'm okay. And it was all in agreement. And then we did it. And then I saw the cover and I was like, oh my God, that's me. And you were like, so this is how we're going to, and Eric was like, this is how we're doing it from now on. Okay. And I was like, we're doing what from now on? You were like, yeah, you're going to be on the cover from now on. The end. End of just, it was not up for debate. There was no like, maybe we'll try this. Let's see how we do it, Danielle. It was just, and scene. And I
No,
was like,
the Horseman
oh.
brand is we're gonna break every rule there was in publishing as long
Yep.
as we felt it was a thing that the industry needed.
Hey,
And
you were
I
just like,
get
and
DMs all
cover.
the time that are like, hey, I love your cover. I'm reading your book. And I'm like, cool, but like I put so much effort. They're like, no. Cover's badass. And I'm like, cool, but do you know how many hours? And they're like, no, cover.
Cover.
And I'm like, no, that's
Cover
fine.
sells.
That's fine. I was like,
People
in
like
the
pretty
inside,
things.
my heart is disintegrating into nothing. Not saying Val didn't put in some serious fucking hours on the cover, but I'm
Trying to
just
do
like,
research.
it's just, it hurts on the inside. So like when they say don't judge a book by its cover, it's for the author. That's the only reason. It hurts us on the inside.
oh no,
Yeah.
when you're on the cover, you're just like,
Okay,
people are
Danielle,
gonna
you don't
judge
count.
that.
That's not fair. That's not fair,
No.
Danielle. Not all of us are on the cover. Although I will say, because like the chick had red hair, and when I went to Phantasm last year, I had red hair. They were like, "Is this you?" And I was like, "That's clearly not fucking me, but sure." Like, sure, that's
Still
me.
looking
Yeah,
at-
it depends. Are you gonna buy the book? Because yeah, that's
like,
me.
yeah, then it's me.
That's okay.
But you?
I
And I'm just
planned
looking at her
for
and I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me right now?" But
Mark
yes, that's me.
Munsey's chapter book to put him on the cover of his children's
All
book.
right,
Just-
Marky.
Oh, okay, there we go. There we
How
go.
you
No,
feeling, Mark?
when
How
we
you
had
doing?
when we had our book come out, from the publisher, they, History Press, 90% of their books are written by, college professors who only do it because they have to publish so much a year to, and most of their books never sell more than like 100 copies in their lifetime. I think it's like 600 is like when they've done really well. And then they sent us our cover, and it was just the state seal of Florida. And I was like, after my wife had done all these illustrations of all these monsters and everything, and I'm like, no. Give us a day, and we'll come up with something better. I promise. And they're like, well, we're going to press. I'm like, just give us a day. And Carrie worked her magic on that. and made that state seal. The state seal, we had we only had a limited window, so she kept the state seal, but threw in all the monsters around it, and that became our icon. We still use that, and it's and then that was their first book to hit the bestseller list. I mean, it was their first book that went into second print immediately, third print immediately, fifth print. All this within a week of launch.
At
they
the
were
American
flipping out.
Library Association, we dropped your name at the History Press booth, and they just were like, "Mark is fantastic."
It's so funny because the publicist, he's still like, there's two of you. There's you, and then there's some lady out in Oregon who is basically the West Coast me, who does all the conventions and all that out there. And we're the only thing that uses the publishing budget for the company. So none of the other authors could care less, and so I'm like, hey, I want to do this event. Can you guys help? They're like, yeah, because nobody else is taking this quarter's budget. So go do this con, go do this, go do this. And whenever he's like, whenever somebody says, well, what are they doing for publication? What's publicity have you got going on? Well, Muncie's doing all this. So he doesn't have to say anything else.
Yeah, no,
That's
the girl at
awesome.
the History Press booth, we were like, oh yeah, no, we know one of your authors. She's like, oh really, who? And we said Mark Muncie. She's like, you know Mark Muncie. It was a whole thing. She got very fangirlish about
Yay.
you.
Yeah, they have some of Carrie's art in the walls, and they used us. We were the reason they got into CVS and Walgreens, because before us, they were just in little gift shops and and travel stations and stuff. But now we're in Cracker Barrel, we're in Target, we're in Costco, and that
Harbor
all
Freight.
came from our stupid books. So that's they love us and they treat us like royalty because of that. So.
Well, you are
That's
royalty.
awesome.
Okay. Okay. So this is the last question because we all could talk for hours and do with each other. But what do you think we're going to see between now and the 400th episode of this show? So we'll start with Val
Oh, why did we get start with me?
because it puts you on the spot and you're done being blushing from the whole going to the
No,
Fetish
let's
con.
not talk about that. Let's not talk about that.
She's immediately getting red.
I think we're already starting to see some of the stuff that I was hoping to see by episode 400, and that's seeing a lot of authors come back and hearing progress in their career path since the last time we spoke with them, like showing and it's going to transition eventually by 400 and 500 episodes that people will be able to use our podcast to see how different an author's journey is at a snapshot. Here they are in their first episode, and then a year or more later, here they are in their second, and a year or more later on their third and fourth. And they will be able to see how different authors measure success, because that's a big topic out there. Like, how do you everyone's like, oh, you're successful when you make $1 billion, you're successful when you get Netflix deals. No, it's publishing has changed quite a bit, especially with self-publishing, and everyone's idea of success is unique to each of us. To me, my success this year is I'm traveling out of state for the first time and selling my books. Like, to me, that's a big success for my own author career. And I think the other thing that we're going to hopefully see by the 400th episode is hearing people's stories of how the shifts in the industry have either made their experience better or worse. We're going to hear a lot of stuff, either more horror stories as the big guys crumble, because that's my prediction, and as little guys start to grow and get a foothold in places where they once were big guys only. So I think that's my two predictions.
I appreciate your two drunk predictions. Vanessa.
Ooh, I just want to see like 4 horsemen just be on the news saying, and basically having like the big 4 start crying because 4 horsemen's dominating the scene. That's what I want to see happen. And I would love to see one of the authors, whoever it is, have their stuff be like a movie or like a Netflix or something like that. So that's what I'm shooting for you guys.
I love you. We were asking what you thought would happen with the show, but I love that idea as well.
Well, hey, I'm saying for the show
Because the people are going to come back on Drinking with Authors to promote their show. Obviously.
Okay. I'm gonna give that to you. I'm gonna give it to you. JM, what do you think?
Well, first, Danielle's book series is going to be a series on Hulu or Netflix or something.
Thank you, Jen.
Because it is very visual, and I can't wait to see all the dragons. Anyway, and butterflies, right?
You're talking about
Sunshine's
drinking
on
with
a
authors,
red.
and you're not
So
even drinking.
I'm not even. I'm serious. That's a serious. That's
Jen, you're
prediction
supposed
number
to keep us
one.
on track.
Hey,
She
she's
is
giving
her
me a
alcohol.
compliment. Let her go.
Just keep us
And
on track,
then-
and you're already veering off.
I was just gonna say flying cars and just let it go with that.
Okay, we're moving on. Danielle, what do you think is going to happen between
fired.
episode 300 and 400?
I think that you're going to have bigger names coming in to talk about the process itself and how the industry is changing more, and maybe more voice-over actors, more narrators. How's that? Narrators.
That's good, because I wasn't sure, because I'd like cartoon people too. That would be cool.
Talking about the process itself and what's going on in the industry. I think that the idea of Bookstagram, TikTok, I think we'll see more people wanting to come forward and discuss the influence of those platforms, and maybe talking to them more, like talking to a Bookstagram or talking to a TikToker, about how they're influencing the review process. Because when you think about it, a couple of years ago, nobody was doing that. Reviewers were just what you saw in, USA Today or New York Times. That's a whole genre or a whole, topic itself that we could probably get into a little bit more and maybe talk about.
I like it. Mark, what do you think?
I think that we're gonna go. It's all just gonna fall apart, and we're just gonna be back in a bar talking books. No,
Oh no! In a bar talking.
Everybody's being
kidding.
positive, and we're
Mad
bringing
Max
Erie,
style.
Florida, and he's like, "You're
Yeah.
gonna get
Well,
eaten by
Mothman just came
Sasquatch."
in and
No,
So basically, we
I
won't be
think-
seeing Mark anymore in any of the future
No,
episodes.
I'm out. No. Honestly, I think this is just
Mark
how it's
disappears.
exploded. You're right. The only way it can go is up. It's just going to keep exploding. I think we've met some amazing authors over these 300 episodes, and I think we've got so many more. And we've talked to a few that have gone on and aren't with us anymore now. And sadly, we were trying to get Eric Flint, and I don't think that one ever.
No,
came
you
to
did.
pass.
We had Eric
We,
Flint.
yeah, we had Eric. Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, I forgot. So Eric and a few others. I think
You were on that
I think
episode.
we've got some of these that are treasures that are fun to dive back into, and we've lost them. So I think
Yeah.
we're gonna have. Sad to say, I think that'll be a little bit of what's coming too. Is we're gonna have some archival stuff here that is gonna be treasure. That is going to be some historian in the future is going to be like, yes, this was the best interview this guy or this person ever did. And they were unsung heroes. And this is before they were famous, or even after they were famous and, and forgotten. I think that's the stuff that I love with this show, is that we've gotten everybody. We've got people at the beginning of their careers. We've got people who are having a renaissance. We've got people who are just on the verge of a renaissance. And I always bring him up because we've talked to Owl, once or twice. Owl going back, Bram Stoker, Lifetime Award winner, and he's forgotten by so many, but now he's writing for DC and Marvel. And I want him back so we can learn about where he went from horror author to comics. I can't wait to see what these things do. So yeah, I'm in for the long haul, gang. Let's see where this goes.
Yes. Okay, CR, what about you? What do you think?
I think that Drinking with Authors is going to take on an entire new platform. I think we're going to go and look across things, and we're going to do interactions with people that we never expected, whether that is authors, comic book artists, like Danielle said, we're going to do narrators, we're going to do all of these things. And I think it's going to be super interactive. And like Mark said, we're going to follow so many different people's careers, and we're going to see people take off and still be able to look back and just be like, look, drinking with authors, and we're going to keep having these people come back because we're different. Drinking with authors is a different kind of podcast. It's fun and it's interactive and it's unscripted and you don't know what the hell is going to happen, but you know you're going to enjoy every step of it. You know it's going to be memorable. And I think that with what Drinking with Authors and even Four Horsemen has in the future, it's going to be something unprecedented in the current world right now.
I love it. For me, I want to keep building the community. Like, I feel like Drinking with Authors puts a community that people don't even realize is there, because they get to listen to their favorite authors, but other authors get to get advice and all kinds of things that's not formula advice. You know, they get to get weird advices and weird ticks and things that we, you know, I really
And
hope
honest stories, I think, is another thing that we provide that
Yes.
you don't
It hits something different because it's not scripted. Like, I know recently, you know, I've looked at, you know, other podcasts and stuff I've reached out, and it's scripted. It's like, hey, they're going to ask me this, we're going to do whatever. And like, this is genuinely let's just sit down and have a conversation. Like, let's just
Yes.
talk and see where it goes. And that's something that is not big in what society is right now, because nobody wants something unpredictable. And I think that's what we are. We are unpredictable in Drinking with Authors and Four Horsemen, and we're just going to blow everybody's lids off.
I love it.
Agreed.
I love it. Okay, guys, I love you guys. I love having you as hosts and co-hosts, especially
Enjoy.
now when we get to talk about naughty things. Just kidding. I just wanted to make her blush. And
Vanities.
no, I consider myself incredibly lucky to have all of you guys as not only horsemen, but also as part of the Drinking with Authors and helping me create the wonderful community and stuff out there with everything. So thank you all very much on our 300th episode. Just so bizarre. I can't even believe I keep saying that. And with that, let's just do a real quick how people follow you guys. If they want to follow you individually, Danielle, go.
On Instagram at birthofthefae_novel, or you can check me out at birthofthefae.com, or on YouTube, because now I have a YouTube channel at DM Orsino author. Haha. I got it
Very
right.
cool. Very, very cool. Vanessa.
My handle for Instagram and Twitter is at Nessa Valiente. And I also have my website, which is vanessavalientebooks.com.
Yay, CR.
I am at CR Rice author, or author CR Rice. I lied. It's author CR Rice. I have been drinking. It doesn't count. That doesn't count. Anybody keeping track? It is author CR Rice. Okay. I don't know if you guys remember what I was drinking. It's fine. It's authorcrrice.com. It's at author CR Rice. Everything is going to be going bananas over the next couple weeks and months. So subscribe, like, follow me. You'll get amazing information.
Cool. Val.
willisauthor.com, and you can find me at just about every social media as well as author. Be sure to follow my newsletter for cool compendium entries and mythology and insight about where I get my crazy ideas, especially when it comes to the Cedric series, which is my flagship. I also write under VC Willis, so author VC Willis and author Honey Cummings. The difference.
Sorry, is Honey Cummings your dirty, sexy stuff? I'm just trying to.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. If you like humorous erotica, or you're laughing and fanning yourself at the same time, Honey Cummings is the way. Mark Munzie had me on a panel, and I'm like, I don't think I'm qualified to be on the Bigfoot panel. He goes, sure you are. And then when I could distinguish there's 5 different types in 5 different regions, he's like, yep, you're qualified. No, and then VC Willis is my male romance. So if you like runaway vampire prince falls in love with human priest, Team Dante.
Team John.
Team Dante.
Okay, Val, it's
done.
supposed to
I'm
be
done.
a little short clip. You're
No, I
like
can't.
going down
I'm
fast.
wrong. Look how much is gone. This was a fresh bottle.
Did you read what? Did you even hear what I was drinking? I don't know if you're
Yeah,
touching
CR,
or
the
if
thing
you're
is,
down.
Val is an incredible lightweight. Like, she
I
just
have
smells
no
alcohol.
gallbladder and I never drink unless I'm on the show.
Val, I'll help you. It's fine.
JM, please take over.
authorjmpaquette.com or Twitter at authorjmp or at drjen13. That's my editor stuff.
Very cool. Mark?
At Erie, Florida was the original, so that's still kind of the big round, but we have transitioned to at Erie Travels. So erietravels.com or erieflorida.com. You can find all my stuff. So
very
Mark,
cool.
we got to talk. I got to do something with Mark with Loch Ness Monster. You know how I feel about the Loch Ness Monster.
I do know how you feel about the Loch Ness Monster. He would
I
be
have stuff that I
delighted.
have to communicate with Mark too. And I've even had my husband be like, I was like, hey, honey, what's his email at work? What was that?
Yeah,
Message
you know.
Mark and says, what was the name of that slug monster in the St. John's?
Yeah. I get that a
He's like,
lot.
damn it, that's right.
No, we'll have to go. We'll have to talk. I was just talking with Katie Elizabeth. She's the lady who investigates Champ, so I can talk to you about that one.
Champ is that's my American.
Okay. Does everybody
We
hear
got
how
off
we are
topic.
going off the rails?
No,
right
sorry,
now?
How
we
do
went
we
on
find
cryptids.
you?
Can't help it.
Yeah, you can find me at ericalance.com or dahlialance.com, which is Dahlia.
Dirty spicy.
Okay.
It's horror
And-
and horror.
It's yes. And for Dahlia, all the socials are at Dahlia Lance, and for Erica, it's author E. Lance. And that's how you find me and stalk me, or on drinkingwithauthors.com, which you can find me too. You know, and my reputation will precede me regardless of what venture you want to go into.
Yes.
But this has been amazing. Thank you guys so much for being on here. 300.
Take your hand.
And guys, we will see you next time. Oh,
Our
don't forget to
sponsor.
like- What?
Sponsor.
Oh, our sponsor.
Our sponsor.
Spirits. DWA10 coupon code. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and please leave
There you
reviews.
go.
And of course, you can email us at drinkingwithauthors.com. There you go. Fit it all in. Okay. Bye.
Woot.
So,